The first thing I noticed was her lipstick, bright red, gleaming under the chandeliers. Andrea had never worn it so boldly until recently, when she decided to put herself on display. It was our 10th wedding anniversary dinner, held in the spacious dining room of my parents' house. We were surrounded by both our families. Her mother, Linda, sat next to Andrea, her shoulders tense, scanning the room with eyes as if searching for any mistake I might make. My own mother was fussing with the tablecloth, while the rest of my relatives chatted politely. The tension was thick in the air. "Don't move the napkins, Rob," Andrea said sharply, adjusting them according to her aesthetic preferences. "I'm trying to make sure everything is perfect." I forced a smile. "It's already perfect, Andrea," I muttered, not wanting to argue before we even sat down. She scoffed, rolling her eyes as though I were too stupid to see that nothing was perfect. This dinner was her idea, or so I thought. "We need to get the whole family together to celebrate," she insisted, giving her mother a modest smile. I suspected they had some sort of plan, but I never imagined how far it would go. Linda smugly smirked, sipping her wine. "You know, Andrea," she said loud enough for everyone to hear, "sometimes you need to shake things up to keep the marriage interesting. Don't let him keep you in a cage." I tensed. It was a usual hint from Linda that I was a controlling tyrant of a husband, keeping her precious daughter in a cage. "I'm not keeping her in a cage," I said, forcing a laugh. "She comes and goes as she pleases." Andrea's sister smirked like a cat. "So that's why you two still don't have another child? Because she's too busy with her life? Or are you too busy with yours?" A below-the-belt hit. We only had one child, a daughter named Liz, who was in college. I swallowed my response, glancing at my father, who was cutting his steak and pretending nothing was happening. He hated drama and rarely spoke up against Linda's jabs, believing it was better not to add fuel to the fire. The dinner went on in fragments. Forks clinked, forced laughter rang out from time to time, but the underlying tension never left. Then, at some point, Andrea and Linda exchanged glances, as if deciding this was the perfect moment to drop the bomb. When the chocolate cake was brought out, Andrea stood up with a glass in her hand. "I have an announcement," she said, throwing me a look. Her red lipstick curved into a cold smile. "I hope you'll all support my decision." My mother set down the cake knife, frowning. "What decision, dear?" Andrea tilted her head, glowing with arrogance. "I've realized something. For years, I felt stifled, underappreciated." She pointed at me with open contempt. "Rob doesn't meet my needs, not emotionally or in any other way." My jaw twitched, but I stayed silent. She had her dramatic moments, but announcing marital problems at our anniversary dinner in front of both families was a new low. The silence at the table was absolute. Linda's smug face lit up, as if she were proud of her daughter's audacity. Andrea raised her chin. "I've decided I want an open marriage. I want to see other men. I'm not divorcing you, Rob, but I need the freedom to explore." She paused, letting the shock ripple through the room. "You owe me for all the neglect I've endured." My mother's eyes widened in horror. My father choked on his drink. Linda reached out, patting Andrea's hand. "Yes, dear, that's very brave of you. Don't let him take your happiness away." I felt my cheeks burn. "Are you insane?" I muttered, trying to maintain composure. "This is how you celebrate our anniversary? By telling our families you want other men." She shrugged. There wasn't a trace of apology on her face. "I was waiting for you to give me what I needed. I tried to be subtle, Rob, but you never noticed. And here we are, putting it all out there. At least now you can't ignore me." Linda clicked her tongue. "See? He always ignores you. I told you, Andrea." My mother finally found her voice. "Andrea, sweetheart, an open marriage, that's such a personal matter. Are you sure you want to discuss it in front of everyone?" Andrea shot her a dismissive look. "I'm sick of secrets. If I don't speak the truth, no one will know what he's really like. All he cares about is work, money, his precious image. He never looks at me the way I deserve." I fought the urge to flip the table. "And you think sleeping with other men will fix that?" I said, lifting my head. Linda waved her hand. "Quiet, Rob. It's your fault. If you had paid attention to her, she wouldn't be looking elsewhere. My father cleared his throat. "This isn't the time or place," he said gently, trying to defuse the tension. But Andrea wasn't done. "I'm done with the old rules. I want an open relationship," she repeated in a cold tone. "And if you don't like it, maybe you should leave." I clenched my fists. "Maybe I will." Her sister Madison sipped her wine. Her eyes sparkled with cruel amusement. Well, this dinner just got interesting. My mother gave me a pleading look, silently begging me to stay calm. But I had had enough. Andrea was humiliating me in front of everyone, unveiling her plan to crown me with horns. That bitter word flashed in my mind. "Are you proud of yourself?" I asked, standing up so quickly my chair scraped across the floor. "You want a scene, Andrea? Congratulations, you got one." She calmly sipped her drink. "Don't act like a victim, Rob. You've neglected me for years. I deserve attention." Linda chimed in. "He's always been self-centered. Andrea, do what you need to do. I support you. That's final." I looked around the table at my parents' frightened faces, at Andrea's triumphant smirk, at Linda's smug grin, and I snapped. "Fine. Enjoy your openness. I'm done." I walked out, ignoring my mother's protests, ignoring the shocked silence of everyone else. My car keys jangled in my pocket as I drove off into the night. Rage boiled in my veins, mixing with the nauseating sting of betrayal. She had turned our anniversary into a carnival of humiliation and expected me to sit back and watch her with other men. Hell no. That night, I didn't go home. I slept in my car in some random parking lot. My mind was a storm of fury and confusion. By sunrise, I'd made my decision. I was filing for divorce. If she wanted an open marriage, she could have it, on her own. The next morning, I called my lawyer, an old friend named Marcus. "I want out," I said, my voice still hoarse from lack of sleep. "She humiliated me in front of my family. Says she wants multiple lovers. I'm done." He sighed. "That's rough, man. Let's get the paperwork started. You sure you don't want to talk it through first?" I almost laughed. She blindsided me at a family dinner and thought she could do better. "Let her try," I said. We discussed the assets, the house, joint accounts, and our daughter, Liz, who was 19 and in college. I couldn't yet grasp how Liz would react to her mother's meltdown. But for now, I focused on the legal side. In the meantime, messages from Andrea came flooding in, a mix of arrogance and anger. "You ran off like a coward. Typical. If you ever loved me, you'd understand my needs. Don't you dare file for divorce. You'll regret it." I ignored them, letting the phone buzz until it died. She threatened to ruin my social standing, but I doubted she had any real power outside of Linda's interference. On the third day, I stopped by the house to grab some clothes. She was there waiting with her mother. Linda stood with arms crossed, glaring at me. Well, look who came crawling back. Andrea leaned against the wall, tapping her painted nails. "Done sulking?" "Sulking," I repeated coldly. "I'm done with you, Andrea. I'm filing for divorce." She scoffed. "Over a little request for freedom? Grow up." Linda chimed in. "He's always been too uptight. Sweetheart, don't worry. We'll handle him." I bristled. "No, you're not handling anything. I'm leaving. And God help me. If you try anything, I'll see you in court." Andrea smirked, folded her arms. "You think you can threaten me? That house is mine, too. We both paid for it." I didn't dignify it with a response. I just went into the bedroom, grabbed a suitcase, and stormed out. Linda shouted after me, "You never gave her the love she deserved. This is your fault." I didn't look back. Weeks passed in a painful limbo of legal paperwork and suppressed rage. Andrea started posting pictures of herself in clubs, draped over men with suspicious looks. Linda told the neighbors that her daughter had finally freed herself from that controlling jerk. My parents were humiliated. My father told me not to sink to their level. I tried to follow his advice, but deep down, I saw it clearly. Andrea had turned what was once a loving marriage into a spectacle. I knew I had flaws. I worked too much, wasn't always attentive. But no matter how I re-examined it, Her decision to publicly announce that she wanted other men felt like a stab in the back. Our daughter Liz called me from college, confused. Dad, Mom says you're divorcing her because she wanted to expand your horizons. She's making it sound like you're the bad guy. I sighed, rubbing my temples. Liz, your mother blindsided me in front of everyone. She demanded an open marriage. I'm not interested in that. She exhaled slowly. That's so weird. She never hinted anything like that to me. Are you sure you can't forgive her? My voice turned sharp. Forgive her for humiliating me? For insisting she's going to sleep with everyone? And I'm just supposed to accept it? Liz hesitated. I'm not taking sides, Dad. I just hope you handle this calmly. Mom is letting Grandma Linda blow it all out of proportion. I clench my jaw. Linda's interference is toxic. Don't get involved, Liz. Focus on school. This is between your mother and me. Liz fell silent, then quietly said, Okay, Dad, just don't do anything you'll regret. We hung up, and I tried to bury myself in work. The nights passed like blessings, and each day brought me closer to finalizing the divorce. There was no way I was going to be chained to Andrea's twisted fantasies. The defining moment came when my lawyer asked if I had any grounds to suspect infidelity before her open marriage declaration. I admitted I had no hard evidence, but I was convinced something was wrong. She was too eager, too abrupt, but it hardly mattered. We lived in a no-fault divorce state. Her betrayal only mattered if I wanted to play dirty, and I wasn't in that game. I just wanted to keep my fair share of what I'd earned. As the legal process continued, I discovered something else. Andrea and Linda were weaving a story that I had abandoned her, that I'd always been emotionally abusive, controlling, never letting Andrea truly live. She insisted she asked for an open marriage because she felt trapped and unloved. Some neighbors believed her. Others rolled their eyes. My parents were outraged. Would you like this translated portion to continue into a larger narrative or kept as a standalone excerpt? One evening, I found Andrea waiting for me outside my parents' house. She walked up to me, eyes blazing. Sign these divorce papers, she demanded, shoving them against my chest. I glanced through them. She wanted half the house, half my savings, and monthly alimony. Are you insane? I said, we barely have any mortgage left. Why should you get half my savings? I earn most of the income. She flipped her hair. Because you forced me into a dead marriage. Now I need a new life. Mom says I deserve compensation. I laughed bitterly. You want to sleep around, and then you expect me to pay the bills? Keep dreaming. Linda appeared, stepping out of a car. You'll sign or we'll drag you through court. You neglected her. She gave you everything, and you gave her nothing. I stared at her. Rage surged in my chest. You're both insane. Andrea's lips curled. You always wanted to be the bigger man, then pay up or watch me shred your reputation. I shoved the papers back at her. See you in court, Andrea. She glared as she snatched them back. Don't say I didn't warn you. You're the one making this ugly. I walked inside, heart pounding. My mother, who had heard everything, placed a calming hand on my shoulder. Son, she's playing dirty. I forced myself to nod. I wasn't going to let them take everything I worked so hard for. Finally, the divorce hearing arrived. Andrea showed up in a sleek black dress, Linda right behind her. My lawyer, and I sat grimly at our table. Andrea told her tearful tale, how she'd been neglected, starved for affection, how she saw the open marriage as a last resort. Linda backed her up, calling me controlling and cruel. I clenched my jaw, tempted to erupt, but my lawyer spoke in a measured tone, reminding the court that Andrea's needs included humiliating me at a family gathering. Hardly a story of quiet desperation. In the end, the judge ruled that we'd sell the house, split the proceeds, and finalize the divorce. I'd pay minimal alimony for a short period, just enough for Andrea to get back on her feet. I felt it was more than she deserved, but at least she wouldn't touch half my savings. Linda shot me a venomous glare as we exited. Andrea recoiled, refusing to look me in the eye. It was supposed to be over. We were done, free of each other, but life had one more twisted act in store. Months passed. I moved into a modest townhouse. Minimal furniture, quiet nights, work, gym, sleep. I refused to even think about dating. Then, out of nowhere, a call came from an unknown number. I answered, and Andrea's voice, shaky and frantic, cut through. "Rob, I need money." My blood ran cold. "You gotta be kidding." Her tone sharpened. "This is serious. I need help with treatment." "It's an SDI," she trailed off, breathing unevenly. "Look, I just need money. Insurance won't cover everything, and Mom can't pay the bill right now." I laughed bitterly. "You're calling me because your promiscuity landed you with an SDI, and you think I'll pay for that?" She snapped. "Don't be cruel. You know how expensive treatment is. I made mistakes, okay? I wasn't as careful as I should have been." Disgust churned in me. "So you sleep with half the city, catch something, and now you expect me to bankroll it? No chance." She raised her voice. "You owe me. You neglected me for years, made me seek comfort elsewhere." I nearly crushed the phone in my hand. "I owe you nothing. We're divorced. You wanted freedom. You got it." I smirked. "Decency? Like announcing you want an open marriage on our anniversary. At a family dinner? That kind of decency." She fell silent, then hung up. I stood there, heart pounding. The audacity. She thought I'd forgotten how she humiliated me, that I'd show up as her savior in this mess. Not in this lifetime. But that wasn't the end. The next day, she showed up at the door of my townhouse unannounced. She looked worn out, dark circles under her eyes, her hair a mess. Linda hovered behind her, arms crossed, face twisted in disdain. Andrea knocked harder. "Rob, open up," she demanded. I cracked the door. "What do you want?" She tried to push past me. "Let me in. We need to talk." I blocked away. "Talk about your SDI." I already said no. Linda cut in. "You're disgusting. You can't even help her when she's sick. You're a pathetic excuse for a man." I clenched my teeth. I'm not paying for her mistakes. Andrea's eyes filled with tears. Crocodile tears, I thought. "Just let me in," she whispered. "I'm not leaving until you do." I'd had enough. I opened the door wide and stepped back. 5 minutes. "Then you leave." She stepped inside, I my bare living room. Linda followed, sneering at the sparse decor. "You live here now?" she asked, her voice thick with scorn. "Pathetic." I ignored her. "What's so urgent?" Andrea swallowed and looked down. "I tested positive for an SDI. My insurance covers part of the treatment, but not the full course. It's expensive. My mom can't handle the full financial burden." Linda hissed. "He has money. He should pay." I stared at them, stunned. "You want me to pay for your mistakes?" Andrea's cheeks flushed. "I wouldn't ask if it weren't serious." I crossed my arms. "Serious? Like the public humiliation you put me through? How serious was that?" Her voice trembled. "Okay, I know I messed up, but this is about my health. You can't just let me suffer." Linda jabbed a bony finger at me. "This is your fault. If you had been a real husband, she'd have never gone looking elsewhere." I laughed bitterly. "Keep telling yourself that. Now both of you out." Andrea's tears vanished instantly. "So you really won't help?" "Not a cent." I said firmly, "No." She glared. "You'll regret this." I doubted it. I opened the door. They walked out. Andrea threw one last desperate glance over her shoulder, but I didn't bend. She wanted freedom, and she got it. The next morning, Lise called. I picked up, expecting a normal conversation, but her tone was tense. "Dad, you have to help Mom." I pinched the bridge of my nose. "Let me guess. She cried to you about her SDI?" Lise sighed. "Yes, and it's worse. She said she might have another problem. She's pregnant." A strange numbness washed over me. "Pregnant." Lise said, "She claims it could be yours." I laughed, cold and humorless. "Mine? That's impossible." Lisa's voice rose. "She's convinced you two slept together at some point during the separation." I cut her off. "We didn't. And even if we had, I had a vasectomy years ago. So that baby is definitely not mine. Silence. Then a quiet, "What?" from Lise. I shrugged, though she couldn't see me. I made that decision some time ago, before all this chaos. Andrea doesn't know because we were growing apart. I never told her, but I had a vasectomy after we had you, so if she's pregnant, I'm not the father. Lisa inhaled sharply. Dad, she's losing it. She keeps telling me you have come back to her, that you owe her. She keeps insisting the baby is yours. A spark of rage flickered in me. She can insist all she wants. I know the truth. Lise mumbled something unintelligible, then said, "So, you're not helping her at all?" I winced. Lise, she humiliated me, demanded an open marriage, left me with mountains of legal garbage, and now claims the baby is mine, when it's not. She wants money for an STI she got. I love you, kiddo, but I won't let myself be manipulated. Lisa's voice trembled. I'm not trying to manipulate you. I just don't want Mom to spiral even more. I closed my eyes. That's her choice. I'm done. Lise held back tears. You two used to be so happy. Now you're like strangers. I felt a twinge of regret. People change, Lise. I'm sorry, but I can't fix her mess. She sniffled. I understand. Just maybe don't slam the door if she's really desperate. I said nothing. After a pause, Lise said goodbye, and we hung up. My anger reignited at Andrea's ridiculous claim. She was pregnant. She wanted me back, wanted me to pay her medical bills, to fix everything. For years, she painted me as a villain, but now she needed me. That night, Andrea showed up again, alone. No Linda, no dramatic entrance. Just her, standing in the cold outside my townhouse. "We need to talk," she said, her voice subdued. I nearly shut the door in her face, but curiosity pricked at me. Another ploy? She bit her lip. "I'm pregnant." I raised an eyebrow. "So I've heard." She inhaled sharply. "It's yours." I couldn't hold back a bitter smile. "Good luck proving that." Her voice wavered. "Rob, we were together a few times before we split. Don't you remember? It could have happened then." I did the math. I cut her off. I had a vasectomy after Lise. "So you're lying." She froze for a second, then snapped back. "That's impossible. How dare you keep that from me?" I shrugged, feigning indifference. Didn't see the point in sharing. We were drifting apart. If you were truly pregnant with my child, it would have happened years ago. Now, no chance. Her lips trembled. "Rob, I'm scared. I have an STI. I'm pregnant. My mother doesn't have enough money to cover everything. And now you tell me you can't be the father. Do you know what that means for me?" I crossed my arms. "It means you're having someone else's child. It means you messed up. Not my problem." She let out a broken sob. "It's all because you neglected me. I made mistakes, but you pushed me to it. I tried to talk to you, but you were always busy, always ignoring me. If you had just loved me, none of this would have happened." I felt a flicker of guilt. Maybe I had neglected her, but that didn't justify what she'd done. "Then you humiliated me on our anniversary, demanded to sleep with other men. Don't blame that on me, Andrea. You made your choices." Her tears kept flowing. "Now you're making another choice, to leave me. You're heartless." I pointed to the street. "Leave. I'm not your savior. Go find the actual father of your child. Maybe he'll pay for your treatment." She slowly shook her head, tears splashing onto her blouse. "I hate you, Rob." "Of course you do," I said, holding the door. "Now get out." At last, she turned away, shoulders shaking as she hurried down the path. I locked the door, chest tight. Part of me felt a twisted satisfaction watching her unravel. Another part felt sick. Once we had loved each other. Now she was desperate, and I was the cold villain. Maybe that's how it had to be. A few days later, Linda ambushed me at the grocery store, hissing accusations. "You're disgusting. Andrea's carrying your child, and you won't help her? You'll let her suffer from an STI and go broke." I grabbed a box of cereal. ignoring the stares of nearby shoppers. It's not my child, Linda. Ask your precious daughter. Ask the men she's been with. She jabbed a finger into my chest. You liar. She told me everything. How you two were together one last time before you left. That baby is yours. You just ran away. I felt my anger ignite. I had a vasectomy. She never told you that, did she? So whoever the father is, it's not me. Linda blinked, briefly thrown. You can't be serious. I shrugged. Believe whatever you want. She muttered. It's your fault anyway. She would have never gone to other men. If you've been a real husband, you'll pay for her treatment out of guilt, if nothing else. I snorted. Go to hell, Linda. I walked away, adrenaline surging through me. Enough. I couldn't let them keep playing me. Andrea, desperate and humiliated, took me to court, demanded a paternity test, child support, the whole package. My lawyer laughed when I showed him the proof of my vasectomy. She's grasping at straws, he said. Show the court your medical records, that's it. So we did. We took the paternity test anyway. Let the court see the negative result. Andrea's case fell apart. The judge scolded her for wasting the court's time. She looked devastated, trembling as the result was read. Linda glared daggers at me from behind her. Outside, Andrea confronted me. Her voice was full of hatred. You always wanted to punish me, didn't you? Well, you got your wish. I looked at her, unflinching. You punish yourself first. Don't blame me for your reckless choices. She flinched, hand on her stomach. I can't believe you did this. I loved you once. I shook my head. I loved you too, Andrea. But you threw that away the moment you said, you wanted an open marriage? Her eyes sparkled with tears. And you never asked why. You never cared. I did care, I said, bitterness coating my words. But I'm done now. Move on. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Tears streamed down her cheeks. With one final anguished sob, she turned away. Linda rushed to support her, throwing me one last venomous look. I walked away. My steps were heavier than before, but strangely freeing. We were done, truly done without illusion. If I was a villain in her story, so be it. She had a new life growing inside her, an unknown father, an STI to treat, and no money from me. And I felt relief, knowing I was no longer part of her chaos. She played her game and lost.